And right off the top, I want to say again, I said this in the last podcast, but thank you to everybody who is jumping on the Substack. We've been getting a bunch of new subscribers, and I appreciate that. And in the last episode, and you can tell your peeps this too, Rachel, that
Hmm.
one thing I wanted to do, because I know that it's very hard for people to get the energy up to kind of do anything these days, like
Hmm.
review and subscribe and rate our podcast. So I'm doing a little incentive that if anybody leaves a rating or a review and takes a screenshot or shows it to us or whatever, a new review, they will be entered to win a premium all access membership to our Substack. Because for anybody who doesn't
Ooh.
know how this works, right? Like you can get a free membership, which a lot of you have done, which is great. We'll put some stuff out for you guys, but the good juicy stuff is behind the paywall. So yes, if you like the podcast and you have not, I know like there are thousands and thousands of people listening to this podcast. I know most of you have not ever left a review or even
Yeah.
just click the 5 stars. Takes 1 second and it's so useful for us, right? Like we need those ratings, okay? So if you
Yeah.
would do that for us and then you take the time to let us know you did it, you could get something out of it. So
Hmm.
please do that. That would be great. And we're writing some good stuff over on Substack. We're not, we're quantity or quality over quantity right now, but I'm very
Hmm.
proud of the stuff that we've put up there. You've
You've
put
been
some
crushing
amazing
it.
stuff. Just it's really like anybody who's written anything that is meaningful to them knows that it can be very cathartic. And I'm sure you've kind of been the same way with some of the stuff you've written. It comes out of you at like the maybe some very sensitive times, some lonely times, some dark times, like things are happening
Hmm.
and things are going on in your brain and you got to get it out. And that stuff tends to be the stuff that really resonates with people. And
Hmm.
it's a really fun new aspect of what we do that is a little bit more personal, I think, and it's fun and it's cool and we're going to keep doing
Yeah.
it. So go over to
Yeah.
Substack and join.
Yes. And I am getting my issue right now is that I have all of these thoughts and these things that are coming out of my brain and I'm just kind of brain dumping them. And I haven't got my system together yet of taking all that stuff and articulating it into an actual
Yeah.
writing series. So that's kind of on my list of to-dos is to get a little bit more into my productivity. I'm finally starting to feel a groove of just getting excited about life and
Mm,
work again. And
hmm.
so it's like kind of a step-by-step process. Like I'm in it now, like in grind mode, figuring my systems out in terms of productivity, like day to day, and getting back into that groove of actually using and challenging my brain. And the next step, which is coming, is now starting to organize that and.
Hmm. That's great.
So
Keep
more
us
to
posted
come
when
for
you
sure.
when you have more productivity hacks because my productivity is at an
Oh,
all-time low. But I feel more proud of the stuff I'm actually able to accomplish because I have so little time to accomplish it. We were talking
oh,
offline, so I just wanted to finish this thought because we said let's record because people might find this interesting, and then we'll dive into some health and wellness fitness stuff. That the last thing I wrote about was, how my chronic sleep is turning me into a monster.
mm,
That's a bit of a succinct, unfair way to sum up what the article was, but it was talking about chronic sleep deprivation and how intense it is and how hard it is on your health and your mental health and all of these things. And to that point, I was just telling you that there's been sort of even more of a new development as parents know, every time you feel like you can't get more overwhelmed, something happens and you get more overwhelmed, like there is no bottom to this. And
hmm.
Seneca is teething now, and it's been very hard for her. It's adorable because she's got 4 teeth in the front. She's like a little baby beaver, and it's so cute. But she's really struggling. And so for a few nights in a row there, she was like really not sleeping and really miserable and like waking up every 30 minutes. And I'm the primary sleep person. So again, I'm going into any event already sleep deprived and already kind of like worried about what every night will bring. And then there was like 3 nights in a row where she was sleeping with me and she was literally waking up like every 30 minutes just like screaming. And by the end of the third night, I was like, I'm getting close to like a breaking point here. Like I'm very close to a breaking point. And I
Hmm.
was sharing this with Alex. And long story short, I ended up taking our other child and getting a hotel that night and getting the hell out of there. And it was not easy for me to do, despite knowing that I absolutely needed a night with no screaming. I needed it really badly for my own health and to be able to help my child. And it was a bit of a silver lining because I went and got to spend some really, really good quality time with my son, which was so fun because 4 is such a fun age, and we just had a great time. And I slept in a hotel bed, and slept pretty well. I still woke up a bunch because that's what my life is now. But like
Mm.
I felt like a different human being having a night just with a little bit of a nervous system reset, just one
Mhm.
night without a baby next to me that was going to wake up every time I moved. And I felt like a completely different human being. And as I was saying to you, and I think you've struggled a little bit with this too, and probably so many people listening have struggled with this. And again, I just never thought I'd be somebody who would struggle with this particular thing. But I'm learning that not only do we need help, obviously, and we need breaks and all of those things, but I need to get better at recognizing that I need the break like 4 or 5 steps before I actually ask for
Mhm.
it. And I know so many, especially women and mothers and people are probably thinking like, yeah, this is something I super struggle with. And I just didn't think I would because I've gone through so much of my life being completely self-absorbed and only worrying about myself that I thought like, I'll be able to retain some of that when I have kids, right? Like I'll be able to still be like, I'm important and I need to do things for myself.
Mhm.
And it's been surprisingly harder than I thought it would be to do that, to be able to just say it. And there's also my own psychology. There's this like admitting of weakness, when I
Mhm.
finally can't take it anymore. And I'm just like, well, I guess I can't do this. And it's like,
Yeah.
nobody can do this forever. Nobody can do it without some kind of break. And it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle
Mhm.
doing it. It's been a struggle admitting that I need help, taking a break, but feeling how different I felt just from that one night off, I was like, okay, so I definitely need to do this. Maybe not get
Mhm.
a hotel, but like, I need a break more frequently than I'm getting. And it ended up being, it was like a very rough weekend that ended up being, a big learning moment that I think was great for all of us. So,
Yeah.
silver linings anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's super important. And it's funny because I just talked about this last night in my on my membership Zoom call, and we talked like the whole call ended up being talking about being proactive versus reactive in all different areas. Obviously, we like when we talk with a lot of our clients, it's the nutrition and the training side of things and proactively, planning ahead and setting yourself up for success. But I think one of the pieces that a lot of people miss is like being proactive about what you just said, like the mental side of things and getting to a breaking point and actually recognizing that and then being able to kind of step back and be like, okay, when did this happen? How can I, like you said, be 3 steps ahead before this happens again?
Mhm.
And one thing that has helped me recently is we've talked a little bit about, journaling and reflecting and all that stuff. And I've talked several times in the last few months about maybe not on here, but about brain dumping at night. Like
Mhm.
we talked about that a little bit, just like doing a brain dump. I've gotten a little bit more structured with that in terms of reflection, because I think the biggest thing is it's so easy to just like get into the cycle of your day to day and like get into the um, like you just get into a flow, whether it's a good flow or a bad flow, or a chaotic flow, and you tend to just ignore some of or you don't recognize some of the things that are happening that um, if you brought a little bit more awareness to, then you would be able to kind of move forward. So, with all that to say, I have it here, like I have my little journal. But at the end of every day, right now, I talked about before I do my 5 minute journal, which is great. I do that every single morning, where you have a great a gratitude practice. Set yourself up for the day. It takes 5 minutes. At the end of the day, instead of just doing a full brain dump, I'll do a brain dump afterwards, but I'll start off with what I call like an audit of my day. And it's just 3 questions. So the first question is, what did you do today? Right? Just a reflection. And I set like a 2 minute timer for each of these. So it's very quick. You don't have to like go crazy. But the first question is what you did today. The second question is what drained you.
Mm.
And the third question is what you'll do differently tomorrow. And being able to just do that in a literal 6 minute chunk, right? 2 minutes for each question, you'll see after like a few days of just doing that every single night, you will start to recognize a lot more that's going on because it's
Hmm.
so easy to like recognize these things that are happening throughout the day and then they just kind of go away, right? But if you actually write them down and even take just 5 to 10 minutes to reflect on your day at the end of the day, it allows you to just be the only word that's coming to mind is awareness. It just brings your awareness like to the front and you're able to now see, okay, there's a pattern. Like, what's the pattern that's happening, right? You can look back on the last 3 or 4 days. I'll look back on the day before when I go to write that night and see, okay, what was yesterday like, and then what was the day before like, and what are the patterns that are coming up? What are the things that I'm continuously ignoring that I
Hmm.
keep writing down, and I'm like, this needs to change, right? And I keep ignoring that. When you see those patterns come up day after day after day, then you start to see, okay, this is the thing that I should be focusing on. And
Yeah.
I need to get this in, I need to get this right before I move on to anything else. Because it's so easy to get caught up in all of the things, right? So you start to see, the patterns, and then you're able to recognize them and then continue to kind of move forward from there. So I think that's just like a quick little thing that people can do. And if you're not doing that, you'll be so surprised what you find.
I like it. I like it for three reasons, as you were explaining it. One, I think it helps, it compartmentalizes it, like it makes it like one thing to kind of think about instead of, because some days can be just overwhelming. And if it's like just
Mhm.
journal about your day, like you can be like, I don't even want to dive into this. But if you kind of just like
Exactly.
focus on one thing, I like that. I like that. I feel like writing it down in with those prompts also makes whatever's going on less scary because you can kind of, you take some ownership and also some control over it. And it's in this little chunk where you're like, oh, this is doable. This isn't this like just totally terrifying, big, overwhelming thing. It's actually this thing that I can kind of communicate in like a couple sentences or whatever. I really like
Hmm.
that. And the pattern recognition, I think, is very cool because, yeah, I think all of us probably, like, if I started doing that, it would probably be like really similar stuff happening
Hmm.
like every time I
Yeah.
write about it. So,
And I do, yeah, exactly. And I do recommend like giving yourself a time limit because it is so easy. Sometimes I find myself brain dumping for 20 plus minutes and it's easy to get caught up in that. So if you do these three prompts and you set a timer for 2 minutes and you like make yourself stop at that 2 minutes, and then at the end, so after those 6 minutes, right, 2 minutes for each one, then at the end, give yourself another maybe 10 minutes to just continue writing what you need to write that you didn't put into those three sections and then cut it off from there. Um, that allows you to you know, stay in that thing and not get too far off of that one thing, right? Because it's so easy to do that and it just gives you some structure. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I like it. Okay, so another fun thing that you missed out on last week that we're going to maybe do a little bit more of today, because I thought it was really fun, was I asked some of our listeners to, you've probably seen this on social media, people either rating different things or saying whether they're overrated or underrated or rating it out of 10. Like I follow some like skincare people who like talk about different skincare things or like fitness things like diets or workouts
Hmm.
or different trends and whether they're overrated or underrated. And I just think it's kind of like a fun, like quick, potentially not way to kind of like touch on some topics in a new way. And I did actually get a couple from social media that were not the same things as we always get. But some of them maybe we have talked about before, but I thought maybe we could touch on a couple different things. The
Let's
first
do
one I
it.
wanted to bring up because I just thought this was interesting. I haven't really seen this, and so I did some research. The prompt is like overrated or underrated fitness thing. And someone said beet juice for nitric oxide boost. Is this a thing? I received free product with a recent protein order. Have you heard about this before?
Me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know much about it? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't know much about it, but I do know it is a thing
Yeah.
and there is research, but like
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about it probably 10 years ago and actually definitely went through a period where I implemented it,
Yeah.
but I didn't stick with it long enough. So it is a thing, and there is research
Yeah,
behind it.
that's a classic storyline too that we can talk about a little bit with this, where it's like, um, yeah, a lot of things work, but only if you do them, right? But so I
And pay
looked into
attention.
this
Yeah.
because I had heard about beet juice too, and the sort of synopsis based on the research that I did, and I can put some like links in the show notes, but there actually is pretty solid evidence that beet juice um, helps convert beet juice nitrates, the nitrates in
Hmm.
beet juice convert into nitric oxide in the blood, which helps widen and relax the blood vessels. And this can increase blood flow to muscles and may potentially improve some aspects of exercise endurance or performance, especially in people who are not trained athletes. Or when it's more demanding than usual. So I don't know if you're training for like a marathon and you're doing like an extra long run and you have some beet juice, you may notice some benefits.
Hmm.
It says here the International Olympic Committee even recognized beet juice as a legitimate sports food. So there really
Hmm.
does seem to be some meta-analyses and some research that beet juice, it does increase blood flow to muscles, and that can be something that can be beneficial for various people or projects. The big thing, and this I think goes back to a lot of supplements, is so it's saying this a serving of beetroot juice can contain anywhere from 230 to 1,000 milligrams of nitrates, while beet powder supplements contain about 5 to 10 milligrams. So you're not getting even a fraction as much as a serving of the actual whole foods juice
Mm.
or whatever it is. So it's likely that you're not going to be able to replicate the impact, the positive impact by taking a supplement. Yeah, so the clinical research,
Interesting.
people are using 300 to 600 milligrams daily. And again, most of the powdered supplements are like 10 milligrams, so way below what the
Hmm.
studies are showing there's a benefit. Um, so, long story short, beet juice may be good.
Yeah.
Probably still not going to turn you into an Olympian, but like maybe could help you if you're looking for some like little things, whatever. Beet powder, beet juice powder, probably
Yeah.
not going to do a whole lot. But
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting because again, I think it is we are very quick to kind of just say every supplement is like a what were those like the green tea pills that were supposed to be like
Oh,
making
yeah.
everybody lose weight, and it's like this stuff is like total snake oil. Some of the stuff has
Yeah.
real research backed roots. It's like once it becomes, and the other sorry I'm talking a lot. The other like through line that I wanted to bring this back around to is the difference between whole foods and like the powdered supplement form of food, because I get a ton of people asking me all the time, can I take organ meat pills because I
Hmm.
won't eat organ meats? And I'm like, yes, you can. It's doing a little something, but the benefit, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, like the benefit of the pills is like this little tiny, oh, look, you got a little bit of something like nutrient dense. If you're eating liver, you're getting this much. It's
Yeah.
so much more beneficial to just go straight to the source and eat the less processed, more nutrient dense version of whatever it is you're trying to do.
Hmm.
If you have all the money in the world and all day long to be popping, supplement pills, okay, it's probably going to maybe do something okay for you. But
Yeah.
the real thing, like drink the beet juice, eat the liver, I guess is what I'm
Hmm.
saying.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it just comes back to the classic, people, especially in the supplement company, trying to find ways to make money, right? So they'll see these the research coming out about beet juice and then try to figure out how to make it into a cheaper, more concentrated form or whatever. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Hmm.
And I think it's just continuing to be educated on those things because one of like an opposite thing, and this is what I was talking about yesterday as well in my group, creatine, we've
I was
talked about
just gonna say
before.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite, right? So
Yeah.
you can get creatine from food sources, animals specifically, animal-based products, things like that, um, whole foods, right? But the amount that you consume through those sources is for most not enough to completely saturate your ability, saturate your creatine stores to get the optimal dose out of that basically. And so that's why creatine is such a popular supplement and has been around for 30 plus years because most everyone cannot get the amount from just their diet and so they supplement with creatine to
Mhm.
make sure that they hit that threshold. And so
Collagen
that's
would be
why,
another one.
yeah, collagen. I feel like collagen is a little bit more like the research is a little it's is there, but there's,
Not as
back and
good as
forth there, but
creatine. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's mostly because like with collagen, it's mostly because if you're not eating, like if you're someone who's not eating um, again, a lot of animal-based products or, if you don't eat fish with the bones in it or lots of eggs and things like that where there is, more collagen rich in those types of foods, adding to collagen supplement can be beneficial. However, I would also say that again, we have to look at the spectrum too, because if you're completely missing your mark on just hitting your overall protein goal, and then you add in collagen, yes, it'll bring you. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're here, it'll bring you here.
Hmm.
However, if you just actually increase your overall protein, or if that's not, doable for you, you actually get a full spectrum protein
Hmm.
powder to add in, you're gonna get even more benefits from that.
Hmm.
Um, we dive into this pretty extensively in the Muscle Science Women program. We go
Yeah.
through all of the different types of proteins. Obviously, we're plugging this here. If you haven't heard of Muscle Science for Women, it's our flagship program, and
You
you'll
should
learn a
take
lot.
it.
You should take it. We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So we dive into all of that, all the different types of proteins, all the things.
Yeah.
But it all comes back to, are you aware and educated on these things? Because
Hmm.
then you'll be able to make better decisions you know,
With your
for
money, because none of this
with
stuff
your
is getting
money.
any cheaper.
Yeah,
Okay, here's
true.
another over underrated one that I'm actually curious to hear more of your thoughts on because I feel like we haven't talked about it that much considering how much we talk about nutrition on our podcast. Fiber. Okay,
Hmm.
so fiber just in general, because if you are a woman, especially a woman between the ages of 30 and 50, and everyone is telling you like jamming this, like you need to eat more protein down your throats, which we are part of that because I agree most women should be eating probably more protein. But the two kind of big heavy hitters are protein and fiber. Protein and fiber. You have to have the fiber. And there are some communities who maybe believe that fiber is a little overrated, that maybe you don't actually need quite as much, and it can be problematic for some people. And some people saying you are literally wasting your time doing anything if you're not getting enough fiber. So where do you stand on that?
I stand in the middle. I think that first of all, your body adapts too. So there's a lot of people who can, not a lot of people, at least from what I've seen, can eat a lot of fiber and it's like that's their norm, right? So if some people getting like 30 plus grams of fiber per day and their body is adapted to that. So they're good there. There's other people if they go from, typically if you go from lower fiber and you increase your fiber right away, you're gonna notice some issues in your gut. And so I think there's a very much a middle ground to just start off with. It's like, okay, are you getting, with my clients, I recommend, a minimum of 15 grams, right? Like let's stick there and then we can see if increasing a little bit over time, maybe up to 20, 25 grams, how you respond to that. Because again, I think too much fiber is not great and too little fiber is not great, right? You want to find the middle ground for you and your digestion and what your gut can handle because everybody's different. And I think it also comes back to the sources too, right? If you're drinking what is it, Metamucil
Yeah.
fiber drink,
Hmm.
yes, you're going to get a bunch of fiber from there, but you're not getting a lot of the other nutrients and the things that you would be getting from just eating some veggies and fibrous fruits. So that's kind of my take on it. I think that it's, you know, just like a lot of the other topics in nutrition, it's like we can just get way too,
Nuance.
yeah, it's nuanced, but we also can just get way too focused on little things and then we make it so much more complicated for ourselves. And I think that that's just,
Hmm.
yeah, not a good route to go down. So,
Yeah. Like I personally am on the lower end fiber train for myself
mhm.
because to your point, we're all kind of individual and I have just always found that I need less of it for sure. I will say that I think one of the things people get hung up on with the fiber is that people who tend to have really low just generalizing, people who tend to have very low fiber diets tend to be eating maybe a lot of processed foods and not a lot of whole foods.
Hmm.
And maybe it's like if you're like carnivore plus cheese and you haven't eaten a vegetable or a fruit in like a month, like you're going to be real low fiber. And, packaged foods and highly processed foods tend to be lower in fiber. So it makes sense that maybe somebody's seeing, oh, I have like hardly any fiber in my diet. Maybe the real question is there's like a quality of food or quality of diet issue that needs to be addressed. But I think the other big point, like you're saying, instead of getting like overly fixated on anything or instead of listening to anybody's, this is the golden rule of fiber thing, is just kind of adding it into something to think about when you're troubleshooting your diet. If you are
Yeah.
having issues, if you're having gut health issues, if you're having digestive bowel movement issues, if you're just experiencing anything where you're like, there's something off with my diet, I can't figure it out, maybe that's just something to look at, to track, to pay attention to,
Hmm.
and to try to subtly adjust over time and see if you can kind of figure something out.
Yeah.
That's my
And if you're trying, like, if
sense.
you are noticing that you're not satiated and you're not feeling full from your meals, or maybe you're in a fat loss phase, fiber is like one of the first things that we look at, right? It's increasing fiber to help increase the volume of your food and help you stay fuller longer. That's like one of the first things that can help with that. Obviously, protein is the first, but like you said, protein, fiber, kind of those are the two heavy hitters. But if you go to a point where now you're consuming way too much fiber, you're gonna become uncomfortable. You're gonna hold on to a lot more water, feel bloated, things like that. So it's really just finding that middle
Sweet
ground, just like
spot.
everything
Yeah.
else. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next over underrated thing, vibration plates.
Over, I don't even know. They shouldn't even be on here. I mean, I'm
Well,
just kidding. Okay.
some
Let me go
people
back.
like
Yeah, let me
them.
go back. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. So I think
Be
overrated,
nice.
but I think that I just think it's one of the things out of everything else that you could be spending your time on is probably just not there. But if you have time, just like anything else, and if you enjoy it, and if you notice that you have benefits from it, I'm
Yeah.
never going to say, don't implement something that you're noticing positive benefits from. That is everybody, is their own being. And if you notice positive benefits and it's helping you, then okay. I don't really know much of the recent research on that either. So maybe I'm just kind of going off of past knowledge.
Yeah, I did a little bit of digging into this just because one thing that I'm starting to look at more as I again get older and I'm postpartum and I feel like I feel bad and I look like I feel bad a lot of the time. Like I'm just in the very like again, moms will get it. There's like a period of postpartum where you're like, I am a troll and I will never feel good again. Like, I know that's not a nice thing to say about myself, but it's really like how I feel a lot of the time. And I recognize it'll get better. It is what it is. We don't need to go on like a whole side quest here talking about like, whatever self-esteem. Postpartum is a very rough place to be in. So, all that to say, one of the things I'm looking into to like feel better, look better, whatever, is like lymphatic drainage, right? And like
Hmm.
getting your lymph flowing, getting your blood flowing. And that's a real thing. There's some science
Yeah, yeah,
behind
yeah.
that.
Oh, my.
And so there's all kinds of talk about like you got to do your little jumps and you got to do your gua sha and you got to move your body in a
Hmm.
certain way, whatever. And that's very directly related to this vibration plate thing where people are saying, you get on this and it's kind of vibrating, you're moving you around, and it's moving your lymph and it makes you feel better and it's draining stuff, whatever. The research seems to be not conclusive or not really showing that there's much benefit. And I'll say here, like, I'm not necessarily convinced that it's a life-changing thing that's going to do much for people, but there is also a difference between there's no research saying that it works and it definitely doesn't work. Because sometimes
Hmm.
there isn't enough research done. Sometimes there isn't conclusive research, enough research, any research at all, whatever. So again, maybe we're not in a place where we can exactly definitively say this is complete BS that does nothing. But
Hmm.
currently, the state of the research is not super strong that it's going to help you lose weight, do anything super noticeable. And like to your point, if people are trying to buy one of these, like you'd probably be a lot better off buying a set of dumbbells or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say probably at this point, I would say probably overrated. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think, again, it just comes down to if you have everything else dialed in and you're looking to add this into your repertoire to help you feel a bit better, or maybe whatever it is, then fine. But I'm looking at it through a lens of what most people are doing is they're focusing on these little minor things, the you know, the new shiny object or the thing that's going to change everything, right? And that's never the case.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting caught up in that is a waste of time in my opinion. And so that's where my mind went when you first brought this up. But again, if you get up in the morning and you have a vibration plate and you go on that plate for 10 minutes and it changes your entire mood and
Mm-hmm.
it gets you going for the day, who are we to say that you shouldn't be doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely
So
right.
that's it. That's
Absolutely right. Okay, speaking of shiny things that may or may not help, red light therapy, like red light masks, red light whatever for your face.
I was
Have you
thinking about
done much
this
of
when
this?
I was thinking about this when we were just talking about that. I have not done much recently. I did go through a period of time a few years ago where I had a red light
Panel, yeah.
panel thing that I got sent to me from a company. So it was, free. And I was like, oh, I'll try this out. And I did pair that with my meditation in the morning. And I was on this whole like meditation kick with the morning routine. Definitely still doing that, but it's dialed down. And I did it, for daily for probably a month. Honestly, didn't notice much myself, but again, there's so many other variables that go hand in hand with that. So I think it is one of those things that there is some research behind it. I haven't looked into the recent research personally, but I do think it's another one of those shiny object things that if you
Expensive,
notice a
shiny
difference,
objects.
yeah, if you notice a difference and it helps you, great. I think there is some research with blood flow and things like that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but again, it's like it's are we majoring in the minors
Mm-hmm.
is the question here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I have a couple different red light things because similar to my last point about just trying to look less like a sleepless zombie. I'm like, give me what you got. I'm doing the
Yeah.
skincare. I'm doing the whatever. I'll hop around if you want me to. And I have a couple different red light things. And it's one of those, like I have been looking at there is some research. And again, just like there's some stuff coming out that seems to be pointing in a positive direction of some like minor benefits and maybe larger benefits depending on what your issue is. Maybe certain skin conditions and things, you might see more benefits than simply somebody who's like trying to look a little like fine lines. They want them to go away. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it is also, it's like getting the right product and it's using it religiously, just all the time, really,
Hmm.
really consistently. So I have the products and I will probably keep using them. I have a feeling it's like
Yeah.
if like the best you could hope is that if you stopped using them, you might be like, oh, I feel like a little less nice, but it's not going to
Hmm.
be like you use it and you suddenly look like $1 million. I mean, I
Yeah.
wish, like,
Wait, okay. Sorry. No, I don't want to interrupt you. I just thought of
no, go
something.
ahead. Go for it.
Are you done?
I'm
Okay.
done.
No, I was just thinking about I didn't even I don't know why I forgot to tell you about this. I just recently got a new massage bed table thing. Uh
Mm,
I'll send you a picture.
okay.
It's from a company called Chirp,
Okay.
like the bird Chirp.
Yeah.
So when I was in Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago, I visited my old teacher slash friend from when I was at Miami in the athletic training program. She was athletic trainer for the women's basketball team. We became friends, and I stayed with her when I was there for a night. And her husband is actually the head athletic trainer of the Miami Heat.
Ooh,
And they have like this whole recovery room, and so they
cool.
have. We were just talking about red light. They have this like red light heat mat, and then they had this machine. It was just a massager where you lay down on it and there's different settings and it's heated. And I went on it and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I sat on it for a little bit and then I decided to take the plunge. And so I bought one last week. It's like $600 and you can try it out for 30 days. So I was like, oh, try it out, see if it's worth it. I have been on that thing morning and night. It is so amazing. I reached out to them to see if they like we could,
Yeah,
talk to them.
sponsor
So stay
us.
tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll get you guys a discount, but it is a massage table, right? And so that is something where it's a luxury and it is something that, in my opinion, is really helping me because I've had back issues for a while, right? So
Hmm.
it just helps me kind of warm up. I go on it before I go to the gym. And then also at night, I've been going on it before I go to sleep. And because it's heated, it's like rising my temperature a little bit, which I think has been a benefit to being able to fall asleep a little bit quicker these days. So yeah, I don't know why I wanted to talk about that because it's like with the technology we have, it's do you want to spend money on a vibration plate that made you a little bit, or you want to spend money on a full-on massage table?
Yeah,
So,
I love that idea though. I was like, I've said before, if I had unlimited money and time and I could have like one luxury thing, like people talk about a house cleaner or a personal chef
mhm.
or whatever, I would have somebody, I would be getting a massage every 2 to 3
Okay.
days for
I
like
need to
my
send you
life.
this.
Whew, yeah, I want
You're
one.
you're it's gonna be worth it for
Okay,
you.
sweet. Okay. TBD. All right.
Mhm.
I think there was one, well, there's one other one here. This person said in a bunch of messages, basically, she's being blasted on her feed about do's and don'ts for your core, for pelvic floor, diastasis stuff. She's saying what you should and shouldn't do for your pelvic floor. I feel like there's so much talk for moms post-pregnancy about what to do, and now I'm afraid or uncertain about what I should or shouldn't be doing, and it's like making her more freaked out about what she's supposed to do or not do. And
Mhm.
this is like a bigger question, more not so much like overrated, underrated. I think this is a case of, we've talked about this before, the problem with too much information and having too much access to too many people saying too many things,
Mhm.
because the idea of rehabbing and being smart about rebuilding your core postpartum is very important. And I mean, there's a reason it's probably being blasted to this person postpartum, like I got it too. But that doesn't mean that it's not an important thing to do. You could be getting too much information. You could be getting the wrong information. I totally get that it could be overwhelming, but that doesn't mean that we should be like, well, this is all just like, stupid hoax influencer stuff that doesn't matter. I'm just going to forget about it. It's still very important to, like I said, protect, rehab, take care of your core, and do it properly. So that is something that we
Mhm.
also talk about. We have two courses that talk about it. We have
Yes.
the Fit Pregnancy course that this
I was
person,
just gonna say.
we talk at length and in depth about proper breathing mechanics during exercise, and other times we talk all about the core and what can happen and how to minimize things and fix things and whatever. We do talk about it a little bit for with Muscle Science for Women, the flagship program too, because we talk about everything in that program.
Mhm.
But if you want some information from people that you trust, we got you.
Hey,
But yeah, I mean,
right here.
basically, all we have to say about that is like, I can understand the overwhelm. And like, it is that weird thing with social media now where if you click on one thing, it will send you a billion related things. And so, of course, it's like
Yeah.
setting you up to be overwhelmed. But don't give up on this if you, especially if I don't know anything about this person, but if they are experiencing some issues or you feel like you've got some core weakness or you're having some symptoms, go see a pelvic PT and let's work on getting this sorted out sooner rather than later because it's so, so important and it can bleed into every other aspect of your well-being and your fitness. So it is
Yeah.
important to take care of.
I agree. And check
Yeah.
out Fit. I was right when you started talking about that. I was like, Fit Pregnancy. We
Yeah.
literally go so in depth on that.
Hmm.
And
Yep, we did that
yeah.
on purpose. One other person said High Rocks is overrated. I will die on this hill. And I know this person, and she is super fit and super strong. So I'm like, yeah, you probably are making a good point. The other thing about like the overrated, underrated trend is it's very subjective because depending on who you are and what you follow and what you listen to, things could, the rating of things is different depending on like what world you're coming from, right?
Hmm.
But
Great.
yeah, you could argue, I think you could make a lot of arguments for high rocks depending on who you are and what you're doing and where you're coming from. But I think a couple weeks ago we talked about, I'm like, should I just fucking do this high rocks thing? Because I have nothing else to do. And I was thinking about it on like a more high level. perspective. And I think what I'm responding to with the high rocks thing is that
Hmm.
I'm feeling like I want to do more cardiovascular conditioning endurance stuff than strength stuff right now, which I have gone through peaks and valleys of this before. I've run a couple marathons in my life. I've like trained for like trail running with my husband. Like I've surprisingly, for someone who isn't very good at endurance stuff, I've done quite a bit of it. And I do get into these phases where I just want to feel, instead of just like build muscle, I just want to be like, I don't know, I want to feel like I could go for a run and not die. And it's
Yeah.
also a response to I want to lose some body fat. I want to like continue to improve my body composition. And obviously, you and I could talk at
Hmm.
length about how you could do that in a number of different ways, one being building muscle. But
Hmm.
just feeling like I need to move my body more. I need to like burn more calories. I need to move a little bit more. I need to get my heart rate up a bit more. And so, of course, I'm like, well, how can I do this in a way that isn't running all the time? Ooh, high rocks makes sense. Like, look at how
Yeah.
tired those people are, you know? So it was kind of just like,
Yeah.
and I'm still not against a lot of the aspects of it. I think it could be, there are elements of it that remind me of my CrossFit days that were fun. There is something about that, a bit of that grind that's just kind of fun.
Hmm.
But I was thinking about it today because I was doing some sprints, and I remember you posted on Instagram the other day about like your 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off
Oh yeah.
treadmill sprints. I was doing some of those today. I love that stuff. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I love doing that. And I was like, this is the kind of stuff you just go through phases where you want to do different things. There have been phases where all I
Hmm.
want to do is back squat with like a heavy barbell. And then there are times when all I want to do is just like bodybuilding isolation, try to build my delts. And then there's sometimes when I just want to like do exercises where I'm like out of breath, you know? And I think we
Yeah.
just go through phases,
Yeah.
and that's a phase that I'm in right now.
Yeah. I agree. And I actually, did I tell you this? That I actually did just hire my coach back for
Okay.
training. And and I'll say this, maybe we can end here. I know this is getting a little bit long, but I, we talked about in the beginning of the year, I put an uncomfortable amount of money into my business mentorship and coach. And I have seen like over just the last month, my everything has just improved like 20-fold in not just, getting some more clients and going through learning all the marketing and sales stuff, but I just feel so excited waking up in the morning and like getting to work and working on stuff, and I can see a clear path now, and it's uh a lot of the uncertainty that I was feeling the last 6 months of 2025 um with my business, I it's now like complete opposite. I see like the 3 years from now type of thing. And it's really exciting, and I'm challenging myself in so many different ways. And so the other part of that was I felt like, I needed to get that dialed in and like get my mental health and business stuff in place, in a good place, before I tackled a new physical fitness goal. And so I got that in a good place, and now over the last few weeks, I started kind of getting into more paying attention to getting back into tracking and just, you know, with football stuff, getting a little bit more into training with that and getting back into the gym regularly. And I have realized that I need some accountability. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, we know what to do. I can put my own training together, program together. I can put my own whatever together. That's not it. It's having to answer to somebody
Mhm.
and checking in with someone. It's the account, and that's just the thing. And it's something where I've realized I'm going to spend the money on those things that I know are going to push me forward and, you know, give me pride and make me feel more confident. And that's where I want to be spending my money, because I know that when I do that, it helps me to feel so much more confident in all the other things that I'm doing. And then that makes the abundance just continue to come, right? And
Mhm.
there's a whole discussion we can talk about, spending money to like manifestation when it comes to money and things like that. I think that's
Mhm.
so true, and I've seen it firsthand the last literally 2 months.
Mhm.
But yeah, anyways, now I'm just rambling. But yes, I did hire a coach, and I hired my coach back that I stopped with when everything went down last June. And so I'm excited to just get back into working towards something and
Mhm.
having the accountability behind that. Cause yeah,
Do you know
need some
what
of
the
that.
goal is yet?
Um, in terms of my specific goals, honestly, it's getting back into a routine of just feeling like I'm progressing with
Mm.
something. I do want to the biggest thing in my head right now is I want to continue to obviously build muscle and work on that, specifically more lower body, but I also want to bring in more flag football related
Mm.
training. So
Sport
my
specific stuff.
sports specific, agility, power, all of that, and combine those two in a way that, is productive and makes sense, and they're not competing against each other too much. So that's kind of my biggest thing. And then yeah, it's just having a little bit more accountability behind that and yeah, we'll see
Love
how it
it.
goes.
Cool. All
So
right.
I'll keep posted.
Keep me posted. I will keep
Yeah.
running for short periods and see if I die or not. I'll keep you posted on that.
Maybe
Um,
wait, so are you doing a high rocks? Did you
I mean, I have like a very basic training plan that I haven't really started. I've kind of just been like looking at it and like contemplating while I go to the
Mhm.
gym and do whatever I want. But I will say, since I've been back from Costa Rica, I have maintained like a 3 day a week, which is more than 2 days a week, which was what I was doing kind of before. I'm like back at like a solid 3 days a week at the gym. And I told you I found like a very solid
Yeah.
meathead gym that's far away. I haven't gone to it yet because it's like a trip for me to go to. But if I'm
Yeah.
only going to the gym a couple days a week anyway, this it's possible that I could get there maybe even once a week and then my other gym a couple times a week. But it
Hmm.
has like everything. It's like super meathead gym. Like the meathead me of years ago would have been like, this is my gym 100%. And when you come, that's where we'll go because
Yeah.
it's got like everything. So I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to kind of just like ramp up slowly towards something, but I'm going more,
Yeah.
I'm going more regularly. I'm like back in a place where when
The
I
little
can
steps.
sleep, I'm like, I'm just getting back into a headspace where I feel like I want to push myself because for so long I either felt so bad or I was in such a recovery mode that I'm like, this is not the time to push yourself. This is the time
Yeah.
to take care of yourself and be safe. And now I'm like, actually, I think I can probably work hard now. So I'm excited to be back there. I haven't really manifested what that looks like yet, but
Yeah.
getting there.
I think it's the momentum, just the little
Hmm.
wins. Start small and build up. That's
Little
all that's
wins.
all you got to do.
It's all we can ask.
It will
Um,
compound over time.
Listeners, if you have any other hot topics you want us to comment on, talk about whether it's overrated or underrated. Last week, I did a fun little mini rant about Pilates, reformer Pilates, and how I think it sucks. And I actually haven't seen if anybody responded and like got mad about it. I told them specifically, don't come at me because I don't want to have this discussion with you. I'm just giving you my opinion. But anyway, if you have any other like interesting, I don't know, like fads or even like
Hmm.
influence or anything you want us to get spicy about, we're open to hearing it. So if there's anything you want us to comment on, talk about, dive into,
Hmm.
you know how to out to us. You can hit us up. We've got a little box on our
Question.
website, question box. That's it.
Hmm.
On musclescienceforwomen.com. You can reach out to either of us on Instagram. You can email us at musclescienceforwomen@gmail.com, the number four. So many ways to tell us what you
Yes.
think.
And all
And
of those are in the description.
all of that's there. And yeah, until next time, I guess just try not to do stupid shit.
And don't be
And
insane.
remember that we love you.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.